Terry McLaurin has never been one to shy away from hard work or big moments. From the moment he burst onto the field as a third-round pick in 2019, he's been a model of consistency and excellence. Year after year, through quarterback changes and shifting offensive schemes, he's turned in 1,000-yard seasons. In 2024, he set a franchise record with 13 touchdown catches and was named second-team All-Pro. Yet now, as the Commanders prepare to build on their NFC Championship run under Jaden Daniels, McLaurin remains conspicuously absent from OTAs and has just skipped mandatory minicamp. It's clear this is more than just a summer break, it's a deliberate stance. He's holding out for a new deal, and that choice speaks volumes about his intentions and his value. This decision isn't a surprise to those familiar with McLaurin's career arc. Back in 2022, during a similar impasse, he sat out voluntary workouts as part of a successful extension negotiation that resulted in a 3-year, $68 million deal. That standoff ended with resolution in early July, just before training camp. Now, with 1 year left under a non-guaranteed $15.5 million base salary and carrying a looming $25.5 million cap hit, his leverage is significantly stronger. He's approaching 30, an age at which wide receiver value often dips. But that age has done little to diminish his durability or elite performance. Already, this holdout has cost him over $100,000 in fines, yet pushing now could redefine his financial future. On the field, McLaurin's value is unquestionable. He led the Commanders in 2024 with over 80 receptions, surpassed 1,000 yards receiving, and found the end zone 13 times. He's become quarterback Jaden Daniels' most trusted target and a consistent spark in Washington's offense. But his impact extends beyond statistics. He's reliable, durable, and shows leadership qualities that are hard to replace. Meanwhile, receiver contracts across the league have exploded. DK Metcalf recently locked in a stunning deal worth $30+ million per year. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and AJ Brown are also commanding top dollar paychecks. McLaurin makes a compelling case that he belongs firmly in that next tier. He isn't demanding to be an absolute top earner, but he's showing he deserves to be near the top. From the Commanders' perspective, the request is reasonable yet complicated. The front office has affirmed they want him to remain a Commander for life. They appreciate what he brings, both on the field and to the locker room. A key leader in an otherwise youthful core centered around Daniels, Deebo Samuel, and hopefully Josh Connerly Jr. The franchise is still building momentum from last season's deep playoff run, and loyalty to a homegrown star carries emotional weight. Yet offering a massive extension ripples outward, affecting cap space and roster maneuvering. Their cap space, while present, is not limitless. Locking McLaurin into a contract north of $30 million annually would curtail flexibility on several fronts. Replenishing the defense, retaining players like Deebo beyond 2026, and investing in depth along the offensive line or in the secondary. Additionally, the pace of negotiations has been slower than the public expected. Across the boards, insiders report cautious, methodical discussions. Washington isn't stonewalling, they're calculating. The goal is calm, sustained success, instead of a quick, cap-straining splash. Balance here is both art and science. On one hand, extending McLaurin solidifies on-field chemistry and avoids the threat of fan backlash that a public fallout or trade could spark. On the other hand, a poorly managed negotiation risks dragging into the season, compromising team unity and focus. McLaurin, importantly, has not demanded a trade. This is strictly about securing the compensation he believes he's earned. But if talks drag past summer, the trade scenario begins to crystallize. First up, the Pittsburgh Steelers. With Aaron Rodgers under center, Pittsburgh's window to compete is now. And Rodgers, a known gunslinger eager for elite receiving talent, would welcome McLaurin. Analysis suggests a package akin to those used for Metcalf. Perhaps a 2026 first or second round pick and a conditional 2027 fifth rounder. Given McLaurin's age and production, that seems like a realistic price point. The Steelers have both draft capital and QB demand. This partnership could be mutually beneficial. And Pittsburgh's track record of favoring high upside talent in trades adds credibility to the idea. Next, consider the New York Jets. Imagining McLaurin alongside Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields is tantalizing. A potentially dominant receiving corps. Yet the Jets face tight salary cap constraints, particularly with Wilson and cornerback Sauce Gardner due for new contracts soon. Still, they're known for bold moves, and this is a situation where they might overpay, or take a calculated hoard of draft capital to get the player they want. A trade wouldn't be impossible, though financially challenging. The Los Angeles Chargers represent the wildcard third option. Justin Herbert, fresh off arm surgery, needs weapons to sustain the offense. Ladd McConkey had a great rookie season, but he hasn't filled the void fully, and Quentin Johnston has upside but remains unproven. A trade for McLaurin, which might involve a first-round pick plus a young player like Johnston, could be attractive. The Chargers have the draft capital and need for proven talent, and if Herbert is going to thrive, adding a steady physical receiver could change their trajectory. But unlike Pittsburgh or New York, the Chargers aren't under such public pressure to strike now, making them less likely, but still plausible. If the Commanders do explore a trade, what would that signal? It could imply confidence in their young core, Daniels, Connerly, Debo, and upcoming players like Zach Evans. A trade would also suggest a philosophical shift, that Washington prioritizes financial flexibility and replenishing draft stock over holding on to emotional assets. A first-round pick is significant capital, but for a team in a win-now window and without severe cap pressure, it might be a challenge they're willing to accept. But fan reaction would be intense. McLaurin is the heat of the team and a beloved presence. Trading him could shake the budding culture. Still, a trade remains the less likely outcome. Holdouts like this often resolve in July or early training camp once both sides step onto the field together. McLaurin executed this move before, sat out until July, and signed. This time, he knows better what he can demand, and the Commanders know what they're dealing with. A similar resolution before camp starts would feel more predictable than dramatic. The timing is key. With training camp opening in late July, staying out into August risks disrupting rhythm and undercutting chemistry. Coaches and staff will push for clarity, and fan patience will wear thin. As the calendar runs out, tension increases. Washington must then choose, finalize a deal, expect a mid-camp return, or start trade discussions in the midst of training sessions. So what outcome feels most likely? A deal struck just before camp, locking him in with a contract in the low $30 million per year range. It might be backloaded to prevent immediate cap pressure, but it maintains the core and keeps the offense stable. That preserves continuity in what is clearly a competitive roster. Short of that, he might sit camp for a few more days or weeks before returning, perhaps signing afterward. An imperfect resolution, but tolerable. A less likely path is trade. If that happens, Pittsburgh is the front runner. New York could surprise, and Los Angeles remains a long shot. What makes this scenario so compelling is what it says about legacy, timing, and economics. McLaurin is at the peak of his career, the most reliable receiver on a team with legitimate playoff ambitions. He knows what he's earned, financial security heading into his 30s. Meanwhile, the Commanders must decide if their identity is built on loyalty and chemistry, or if they're aggressively reallocating resources to build for the long term.